what just came up in my awareness is like sometimes maybe I feel that others might perceive my lack of urgency as a lack of importance, like I don't value what we're creating together, like working on a big film or something, and I'm like, if I take a week off to just spend some time with my family at this crucial moment when things are really, like everything's happening, like then that it might feel like it's not important. I think that's what's coming up, like, but everything that all my friends and people are doing is important. Like everything that is important, even if I'm not addressing it right now. If I'm like taking a break from it, it doesn't make it any less important. And I gotta start giving myself that, because I've got so many threads, so many stories, so many people that I'm connected to that are doing important things. And it's seriously like, it's like having 3 full-time jobs, the amount of stuff that I'm getting done. And like, you might do the maths and say that's impossible, but the reason why it's possible is because I am efficient as fuck, because I've developed like the ways to make it all happen faster. And then we're starting to compromise quality for efficiency. And that's like, I guess, the overarching theme, like compromising quality for efficiency. So I can do things faster, or I can do things well. And I want to do things well, including my family. Like I want to raise my family well. And it seems like the more important things that I do, the more this urgency kicks in and sort of takes over a little bit, to be honest. Sense of urgency just makes me it's almost like my prioritization system, like my inner priorities get stuck and they don't change because the urgency just overrides everything. And I feel the urgency because I feel so strongly about stuff. Like I want people to see these films that I'm working on. I want people to have these changes from the healing. Like I want people to make their progress on their journeys and stuff. Like even there's some phone calls that I just shouldn't be answering lately, but it's that same kind of feeling. Like I don't want people to feel like they're not important, or like that I don't value them and value their journey because I don't have time for them. But I'm just at a point where there's such a high demand for my time that I'm gonna have to start considering this. I can't, especially with a child on the way. I would have had to consider this anyway. In the last couple of years, it's been an emerging issue that the demand for my time is increasing, and like some people kind of feel entitled to it because they're used to me just responding straight away and giving them that time because I do think they're important. But it's actually, then it creates this, like then the demand on my time increases even further because I'm actually willing to give it to people. Like I've got to start to reassess my boundaries and all kinds of things. And I've got like 11 weeks left to do it. And my daughter might show up before that. And I should already be good at this. Like there's a lot of should here, a lot of self-judgment. That's what should usually means, doesn't it? If you hear a lot of should, it's like, okay, what am I not accepting about myself, or what am I being too harsh with myself for? But at the same time, it's also an indicator. I'm judging myself for a reason. So I'm not happy with this. I could just sit here and judge myself and do a bunch of shoulds. But whenever I'm reflecting on what should be different, I am also changing my intent. Like I'm going to do something about it. I'm not just going to, hopefully not going to be recording the same video diary in a year's time. Although I did kind of just highlight the fact that this has been an emerging issue for a couple of years. I guess I thought that it wasn't really a problem, and you get a little bit of an ego boost from having that attention, like people wanting and demanding your time. everybody wanting you to be a part of everything, or everybody wanting your advice or like your expertise on a subject, or you to just do stuff like this is too complicated, Kai, can you just do it for us? But yeah, I'm probably got the way too high demand on my time. But the second thing, if I'm honest, which is a weird thing, like it's hard for me to be honest with myself about this, but I'm not being compensated enough to be I'm giving a lot of that time away for free. Like I should probably do like a little audit, like the same as you do like a budget, like a little spreadsheet of like how many dollars and cents you're making and spending and where all your money's going. I reckon if I did one of those spreadsheets, but I did it with time, and I honestly tracked like where all my time's going and like who's demanding it and who I'm giving it to, or what I'm giving it to, what I'm working on, I think there would be a lot of wasted time in that budget, or not wasted, because again, like everybody's important, and that's why I'm so, like I feel the need to continue to contribute my time. But yeah, like I can think of a few things off the top of my head that I'm not receiving any, there's no reciprocal exchange. It's just like purely take, and I'm actually continuing that relationship, and the demand is increasing and there's no reward for it, which means I'm not filling my own cup. And you know, if your cup's not full, how can you fill other people's cups? You've heard that before, like fill your own cup first so that you can that you have the abundance, that it's overflowing and you can start to help others. If I'm constantly draining my cup because I'm not being mindful of where my time's being dispensed, that's an interesting word for it, I could end up in quite a pickle. And I actually feel like I am. Like I feel a lot of fatigue today. When I actually sat down here, I feel fatigue, I feel tired. And I thought, my first thoughts was, that's important to feel that. It's important to feel tired and feel the tiredness, and not try to mitigate it with like some caffeine or just force myself to do something. I need to feel the tiredness, and this is what was underneath it, these realizations. But yeah, tiredness from just living in that urgency. Urgency is a tiring state to exist in, I think. Important feels good. Important fills my cup. If I'm doing something important, I feel good about it, and I feel energized, and it feels like I'm charging my batteries. But urgency is like this, it's like, it seems the same, but it drains my battery. It's like, quick, we've got to do this, we've got to do that, and it's like stress. It's like, and stress, as we all know, is like you could almost call it the primary issue, like for all issues. Like it's what, in one form or another, it's stress. Like anger is the stress of like like something's affecting you that you feel that you're losing control in that situation or something like that. So you feel stress around that. Like sadness is even a kind of stress because you feel disempowered, or you feel defeated, or like that things beyond your control in another way and you can't change it and you can't think of a way. Like stress is always the thing, and urgency is my stressor at the moment. And it's not, I don't always operate from that place of urgency. Like sometimes it is just that it just feels important and I am charging my batteries. But I think as well, if everything that I'm doing is always important, it's easy for it to slip over into that urgent mindset, where it starts to feel like I have to do this, I have to do that. And there's not a lot of time for me to stop and be with myself. So that's a recipe for disaster. Because if I'm not checking in with myself, then I'm not actually looking at the priorities and deciding what's important. So anything could come into my awareness while I'm in a state of urgency and I just go, yep, I've got to get that done. And it doesn't matter at all. And that happens sometimes. And then you kind of catch yourself and you're like, what have I really done today? Like I've run around like it's the most important thing in the universe to do a bunch of mediocre tasks that have no impact. So like those tasks are also like need to happen. Like you need to do stuff that isn't the most important stuff in the universe, but not in a state of urgency. So I don't know, maybe I just got to be like, not allow myself to, I don't know, why do I think that I've got to be doing the most important things in the universe in the first place? Like, why can't I just be relaxed and cruise through life? And I guess the big thing underneath all of this is the most important thing in the universe is going to be my daughter and my partner. So I need to keep track of this urgency thing, because if I get triggered into this state of urgency from stuff that I feel is important, you know, in my everyday existence so far, like up to this moment, I think when my daughter's going to get here, it's going to kick that sense of importance into overdrive. And if this whole thing's playing out, like with the urgency, I might turn into a crazy person and just not be able to function at all. And I might not be able to take time out at all. Like I already don't have enough time. Like this is my first day off in 3 weeks, really, like a day where I don't have any tasks that needed to be done. And guess what I did the first thing this morning? Worked on something. Because I guess the trap that I fall into is thinking that I've got this to-do list, and once I tick everything off the to-do list, I can relax. But at this stage in my life, the to-do list grows faster than it shrinks. Like because when you have skills and abilities and knowledge, and you've developed yourself quite a bit, and you're successful in a variety of fields, and people know that about you, they're going to come to you and they're going to ask you to be involved in stuff. So even with even saying no to a bunch of stuff that you don't want to do, you still have this abundance of stuff that you absolutely do want to be a part of. It's too much. So your to-do list is going to be always growing faster than you can to do it. That's silly. And yeah, so like I kind of do just put in my calendar like time slots to do things that I know are just going to fill my cup and make me feel better and keep me away from like important and urgent tasks, so that I can just come back down to earth. That's what I'm doing here today. Like I have to schedule this stuff. But maybe I just need to like start saying no more. Or there's a lot of things to consider that have just come to the surface of my awareness after I stopped recording myself in this moment. If you get anything out of these recordings, please pass them on to anybody else you know who may benefit. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, or you could just click the like button for me if you don't want to do any of that stuff. You could leave comments down below. I'd love to hear what you're thinking and feeling in the present moment, so it's not just the me show, because that gets a little bit boring.